For more than 3,000 years, one of history's greatest mysteries has remained unsolved. Where is King Solomon buried? You know King Solomon, right? The wisest king who ever lived. The richest ruler in ancient Israel. The guy who built the legendary First Temple in Jerusalem. After he died, he just vanished. No tomb, no grave marker, nothing. For centuries, people thought his tomb was just a myth. But what if I told you that archaeologists might have finally found it? And what they discovered is absolutely mind-blowing. Before continuing, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video if you want to spread God's truth. Let's start with who King Solomon actually was. According to the Bible, Solomon was the son of King David. He ruled Israel during its golden age, a time of massive wealth, power, and influence. His kingdom stretched from Egypt to the Euphrates River. Solomon wasn't just rich and powerful. He was famous for his wisdom. People traveled from all over the world just to hear him speak. He wrote thousands of proverbs, composed songs, and settled disputes with legendary judgment. And then there's the temple. The first temple in Jerusalem, one of the most important religious structures in human history. Solomon built it using the finest materials, cedar wood from Lebanon, massive stones, and literal tons of gold. But here's the weird part. After Solomon died around 930 BC, he completely disappeared from the historical record. Unlike Egyptian pharaohs with their massive pyramids, Solomon's final resting place was lost to time. For thousands of years, nobody knew where he was buried. Some people doubted he even existed at all. That is, until recently. Everything changed in 2005 when Israeli archaeologist Dr. Eilat Mazar started digging in the city of David, located just south of Jerusalem's Temple Mount. Now, Mazar was controversial. Why? Because she actually used the Bible as a guide for her excavations. Most modern archaeologists think the Bible is full of legends and exaggerations. But Mazar believed there was real historical truth buried in those ancient texts. And she was about to prove everyone wrong. Originally, Mazar wasn't even looking for Solomon's tomb. She was searching for King David's palace. But what her team uncovered was way more significant. They found massive stone structures dating back to the 10th century BC, exactly when Solomon was supposed to have ruled. One building was so enormous that Mazar simply called it the large stone structure. But the real game changer? An underground chamber hidden beneath these ruins. Mazar called it the Cave of the Kings. This wasn't just any cave. Based on its size, location, and construction, it looked like it was designed to hide something incredibly important. Maybe even a royal tomb. The archaeological community went crazy. Could this actually be where Solomon was buried? In 2009, Mazar returned to the site and started finding things that made the Solomon connection even stronger. They uncovered ancient fortifications, massive defensive walls, some nearly 13 feet high, that had been standing for almost 3,000 years. These walls were built with incredible skill and would have required enormous resources. Then came the pottery. Hundreds of fragments, all dated precisely to the 10th century BC, the exact time period when Solomon ruled. But the most exciting discoveries were small clay objects called bulli. Think of them like ancient stamps that officials used on important documents. And here's where it gets really interesting. Several of these seals had names carved into them. Not just any names. These were names of officials and royal figures who are actually mentioned in the Bible as serving in Solomon's court. They found physical proof, actual artifacts, that matched biblical accounts of Solomon's government. This wasn't mythology anymore. This was history. Mazar believed that only someone with immense power could have commissioned structures this massive. And according to the timeline and location, that someone was either King David or King Solomon. The evidence was mounting. If this site really was connected to Solomon, it would be the first solid proof that he actually existed as a historical figure, not just as a character in religious texts. So here's the question. Where exactly is Solomon buried? Despite everything Mazar found, we still don't have a definitive answer. Over the years, researchers have developed several theories. Some experts believe Solomon's tomb is buried underneath the Temple Mount. It would make sense. That's where his famous temple stood. The problem? The Temple Mount is one of the most religiously and politically sensitive locations on Earth. Nobody can dig there. So even if Solomon's tomb is underneath, we might never confirm it. Others point to Mount Zion, which has always been associated with royal burials in ancient Jerusalem. But despite numerous excavations, nobody has found conclusive evidence there. Then there's the city of David, where Mazar was digging. This theory is gaining the most support. That cave of the kings she discovered is exactly the kind of place you'd build to protect a royal tomb from grave robbers. The location, timing, and construction all make sense. There's also Zedekiah's cave, a massive underground quarry beneath Jerusalem's old city. Some researchers think this quarry supplied stones for Solomon's temple. And if that's true, maybe it also contains hidden burial chambers where ancient kings were secretly buried. But there's a darker possibility we need to talk about. What if Solomon's tomb was intentionally destroyed or hidden so well that we'll never find it? Think about Jerusalem's history. This city has been conquered, burned, and rebuilt more than 40 times throughout recorded history. Countless ancient tombs and artifacts have been completely wiped out. Solomon was the richest king in Israel's history. His tomb would have been filled with unimaginable treasures. That makes it a prime target for grave robbers throughout the centuries. So whoever buried Solomon might have gone to extreme lengths to hide his tomb. Maybe they buried it under layers of rock or concealed it beneath temple foundations. Maybe they built fake tombs to throw people off. There's a very real chance that Solomon's final resting place is sitting just feet underground somewhere in modern Jerusalem, close enough to touch, but completely hidden from view. What made Dr. Mazar's work so groundbreaking wasn't just what she found, it was how she found it. Mazar treated the Bible as a legitimate historical source. While colleagues dismissed biblical texts as unreliable myths, she used them like a treasure map. She looked at where the Bible said Solomon and David ruled, and then started digging. And it worked. Her approach reignited interest in biblical archaeology and proved something important. Faith and science don't have to be enemies. Sometimes they can work together to uncover the same truth, one discovery at a time. Finding King Solomon's tomb isn't just about discovering an old grave. It's about connecting our modern world to its most ancient roots. It's about proving that sacred stories passed down for thousands of years might actually be history, real history, carved in stone and buried beneath our feet. If that tomb is ever truly found, it won't just be a win for archaeology. It'll reshape how we understand history, faith, and the legacy of one of the most mysterious rulers who ever lived. A king who ruled in gold, wisdom, and mystery. A king whose story has survived 3,000 years. And whose final resting place might be closer than we ever imagined. So what do you think? Is Solomon's tomb really hidden under Jerusalem? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.